Hey guys, and welcome back to Sunny's Geeky Grove. This is a little bit of a change of pace. It's not a regular podcast episode, but if you clicked on this video, you know what it's about. So, we need to talk about fighting with my family. This is a 2019 film that originally debuted at Sundance in January and then wide release in February. It is a WWE film, and it is biographical. It's a sports comedy drama, and it centers around the WWE Diva champion, Paige. It basically is about how she grew up, how she was raised, her connection to wrestling and the WWE, and her brother, and her family, and basically how she got to be the Diva champion. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I do not watch wrestling. I've seen some. I've definitely watched some, SummerSlams or Royal Rumbles or whatever. I've played the video games, but I'm not a fan. It's not my cup of tea. I know why people like it. I can see the story-driven aspect, the soap opera-esque dialogue and plot lines. I dig it. I support it. It's not my thing. I'm not going to spend my time watching it because ultimately at the end of the day it doesn't excite me. So when this movie came out, I thought, I'm not gonna like this. Yes, it stars Nick Frost and Lena Headey and Vince Vaughn and Dwayne The Rock Johnson is in there, and obviously I know who he is from the WWE, but, mainly his career nowadays is focused around his acting career. And I typically love every movie I've seen him in. Some of the Fast and Furious movies, not so much, but that's okay. So, I wasn't not interested in this movie, but I wasn't like gung-ho, woo, let's go. But, I get in there, and I'm watching, and Paige is one of these black sheep type wrestlers. She's not polished. She's kind of lower middle class and struggling to make it in her community, and her family is seen as, outcasts of the city that they live in. And her real name is Soraya, which is her mom's stage name. And her brother, Zach, they end up being like a tag team type thing with their family's wrestling organization, and we learn about her struggles going through life as a young kid, wrestling and growing up with that in her family, and just the dynamics of that in general. And then her and her brother apply to WWE, and they both get called since I think it was a SummerSlam was in London. They get called to come down and try out. And when they get there, they do all the tryouts and they get asked some questions and things like that. Show us your moves. And, some spoilers ahead if you, don't know much. I didn't know much going in. I knew that she was a Divas champion. I had met her once before at a Comic-Con. And she was really sweet, really funny. I want to say it was even like a month or two after she won the title. So I knew that she was the champion. She had the belt, but I didn't know anything else. I knew she was British and that she was gothic and adorable looking. She's very pretty. That's not a thing. She also can wrestle very well. And so I didn't know everything going in. But basically, out of everybody that they called in for the tryouts, her and her brother included, she's the only one that gets picked to go to the training camp, basically, to practice and work hard and show that she can do it, show that she can prove herself to them, and that she can be, a WWE wrestler. She can be a diva. She can be on that roster. And all this time, her brother has wanted this his whole life. It's his dream. It's what he's been working for. He's tried out so many times and gotten shot down, never got this far. And so he is devastated. This was his dream. This was what he wanted. And this movie is about a wrestler, but it is so well written and so well acted that you forget that it's a WWE film about a Divas champion, that it's a sports movie, that you should be focused on, her training montages and how does she come up with her stage name, and is she going to, how is she going to develop her finisher? No, this movie has you crying in your seat. Oh yes, I cried. Crying when her brother talks about, her chance and just because he didn't get the chance and she needs to keep going and scenes prior when Paige is telling Zach, who's spiraling, who's drinking, getting into fights, not showing up to work, basically being a right ass, and he is feeling sorry for himself. And she says, she looks at him and she says, just because there's not a million people cheering you on doesn't mean what you're doing is not important. And that line really stuck with me. And he was teaching a blind kid how to wrestle. And all these troubled youths, getting them off of the street, getting them to stop selling drugs. And he was doing that. But when he, started spiraling, those kids had nowhere to go. Those kids started dealing again. So she really saw that they needed him and that he was throwing away something so positive and powerful in his life just because he wasn't on TV doing it. And it kind of clicked for him at that point. There was a conversation with him and her again that, I think really solidified it. And there was another scene where Nick Frost, who plays her father, is talking to her when she is saying she's not going back. She can't hack it. She's never going to be a WWE diva. I'm just going to stay here and, work at the gym and do the wrestling with Zach here. And, that's what I'm going to do. That's my purpose in life. And he sits at her and says, you will always be the spark in our life, no matter what you choose to do with yours. And honestly, coming from this man who basically bred his children and kept them in the wrestling world and pushed them to go to WWE and try out and audition and keep going, keep sending in tapes all their lives, kept wrestling them, kept pushing them in the ring, kept forcing this down their throat, basically, was saying, I can see that this is really hurting you and you can't. If you don't want to do this, we still love you. We still support you. You're still our daughter. You're so amazing. And I was crying. It was so good. It was so good. This movie that's supposed to be about wrestling ended up being inspiring and funny and sad and a nail biter too. There were scenes of suspense where even though I knew she was a Divas champion, I was like, how is she gonna make it? Does she quit? No, she doesn't, obviously. But the movie had me feeling like it was not a biopic, but rather a movie, a comedy drama sports movie where the characters were new and they had their own arcs that they were going to explore, and we had no idea of the outcome. It felt like that because of the flawless performances. I swear, Florence Pugh and Jack Lowden played brother and sister so well. They were so spot on with the arguing, the bickering, the rapport, and the love, that familial bond. It felt so real. And just everything about it felt like it was not a WWE movie. I mean, come on. You've seen a WWE movie. The Marine, I'm pretty sure that's WWE, or 911 with Halle Berry. Their movies are not like top tier, keep you on the edge of your seat, move you to tears. They're popcorn movies. They're just to sit, turn off your brain, watch, enjoy for an hour and 20 minutes, hour 45 minutes. Okay, I'm done. Let's move on. But this movie, it's been like 2 weeks since I've seen it, and I'm still sitting here thinking about how great that movie was. And it has 92% on Rotten Tomatoes from 163 counted reviews. The audience score is 86% with 2,094. It's so good. There's things that I would have changed. Honestly, Lena Headey was not the greatest. Katie Siegel, I feel like, would have been way better in that role. And I don't know if they put a wig on Lena Headey, but boy, her hair, oof, it was awful. Yikes. And I did dislike the lip ring aspect. They should have done a very small prosthetic that made it look like it was an actual piercing and not the obvious fake one that it was for Florence, for Paige. Because when you take a lip ring out, there's a hole. And they needed just a little extra effort, a little extra oomph to really sell it. Otherwise, it was distracting for me, and it's a little thing, but so Fighting With My Family came out on February 22nd. So far, it's grossed over $26 million. I believe that's globally. And, worldwide total of $26.7 million. And the production budget is quoted at $11 million. So it's definitely worth it if you have, the time and you want to see a really good movie with really good character development. Characters that feel genuine and real because they're based off real people. And a story where, you legitimately forget that it's a real life story that actually happened. And instead, you feel like, oh no, what's going to happen next? Is she going to fail out? That type of feeling. So it's fantastic. I can't praise it enough. I really do think that it's going to be one of those movies that I purchase probably the day it comes out on Blu-ray. It was that good. I was blown away by how much I enjoyed it. The runtime is 1 hour, 48 minutes. It's rated PG-13, so you don't need a parent or legal guardian to take you if you are young. But yeah, great movie. I highly recommend it. Stay tuned for the next podcast episode. It will be coming out on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Keep an eye out for that. And thanks so much for listening and watching. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. Hit subscribe and ring the bell if you want to stay notified of all the videos that I post. And if you'd like, you can follow me on Twitter at Sunny Geeky Grove. And I've been Sunny. You've been amazing. Thank you for spending some time with me. And I hope you have a wonderful day.